Wars and Revolutions. As NATO targets Libyan leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, the cover story that its efforts are designed to protect civilians is wearing increasingly thin. Daily, its efforts, including the targeting of Gaddafi and the killing of members of his family, look like regime change, suspiciously similar to Iraq of several years ago. Indeed, the pattern is virtually identical. Demonization in the corporate press, no-fly zones, bombing aimed at the leader and or his family, and installation of a Western-friendly puppet who acquiesces to the looting of his country's natural resources for foreign profit. When did the West ever care about Arabs? David Morrison, writing in a recent edition of Labor and Trade Union Review, answers the question thusly. It is inconceivable that the governments of France and Britain and the U.S. embarked on this mission out of concern for the lives of Libyan civilians. In recent years, the U.S. itself has killed hundreds of civilians in Pakistan in drone attacks triggered from the safety of mainland U.S. The slaughter has intensified under the Obama administration, and it is still going on. Has France or Britain ever expressed any concern for these civilian killings carried out regularly by their close ally? Of course not. Morrison goes on to write of the thousands of Lebanese and Palestinians killed by Israeli bombings in 2006, 2008 to 2009 without any call for a no-fly zone from any of the states now leveling Libya. Morrison notes, in the case of Lebanon in the summer of 2006, the U.S. and Britain acted to prolong the conflict and the killing. Clearly, Morrison writes, another reason motivates the Western powers than the suffering or the bombing of Arab civilians, which they or their allies do with reckless abandon. Morrison writes, though Gaddafi has accommodated himself to Western interests in recent years and opposes al-Qaeda, he has maintained the coherence of the Arab nationalist state he has built and retained a form of socialism in its structures. This is intolerable to Western interests, which prefer to see a mess a la Iraq rather than a strong state pursuing the interests of its people in its own way. The plan, therefore, is to destroy the Libyan state under humanitarian and democratic guise. It is of no concern of the West that it may be unleashing a bloodbath. First Iraq, then Libya. That leaves the last Arab socialist state, Syria. That's why France and Britain and the U.S. are bombing Libya. My sentiments, exactly. From death row, this is Mumia, Abu Jamal. These commentaries are recorded by Noel Hanrahan of Prison Radio.